Afro Sunrise, Afro Sunrise, Yehuti, Sachet, Serket, Osei, 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 my great great grandmother, Sini Moore, Osei, Osei. Listen, when I say that all right, let's just start it from here. The number three, that's tricep. That's a trilateral, a tricep, and triconceptual. Thus, relating to the skin, to the brain, to the hued man. We are a triceptual people. Now, that's placing you here in this physical realm in your lowest state, triceptual. And from a triceptual standpoint, that makes you, the black man, a linear being when it comes to the quadceptual nature of EU carbon, which the black woman is. So we are a epidermal people. We are a tri-nature people. In our lowest form. But where we are now is one ring or a half a ring, which would like a crescent, which would be like a crescent moon. Would oh man, what's the disease that black people in this broken nature is? It won't come to me right now, but we have to understand that you were placed in a triconceptual reality. A triconceptual reality. You are to evolve upwardly from there. A triconceptual reality also would denote your bottom three chakras. This is why when I show you the picture of Amit and she's devouring the bottom three chakras, because you are supposed to ascend into your fourth chakra to meet the black woman, to not keep her locked in this iron ball and chain, which is 9. At her original formula, iron in this gaseous state is 9, 9, 9, 9. And we see this when we can look at the Native American representation of Cockapelli. I will show you this on paper because I drew it again last night. So the 9s and the P's, right? Because as above, so below. So above would be the above, and then below. So these are 9s and these are P's. Now, so let's get back to the triceptual. The triceptual is your lowest form of being, but you have been rendered down into a sickle cell, which is half of a ring of consciousness, or a double ring of consciousness, or 2 rings of consciousness. Or some of us have just maintained this non-evolutionary state of 3 consciousness, of a 3-ring consciousness being, which is your lowest nature. So the black woman is not a triceptual being. She cannot be. She is a quadceptual being. Meaning now when you devour these bottom 3 chakras, your original chakra outside of the physical dimension, out of this slowed down laboratory rate, would be the heart chakra. This is where consciousness, the most basic part of awareness, begins. And if we're still rolling around in the last paradigm conceptual prison lockdown, you're not operating in consciousness. That is an illusionary process of consciousness that the physical body takes as a facade, which is the illusion. Are we getting this? Rewind it, listen to it again, as many times as you have to. Because people keep telling you, oh, practice, where you're at. You're not supposed to be perpetually spinning in the same thing, because in the same thing, what happens, it keeps getting mocked and mocked and mocked, meaning remade, so it keeps losing, so you drop fervor and frequency. It is time for us to grow up and be Ma'at Chord. Ma'at Chord. You cannot stay in the same thing and think that you're going to survive at the same level. We see this all through history, and that is the lesson that we're supposed to take away. So when we see these civilizations fall, that means the level of consciousness and so-called spiritual practices, religious practices, has not elevated the consciousness to the quad conceptual realm. And anything that maintains the same and does not evolutionize itself falls off, it dies. So it keeps getting smaller, weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, because the strain itself is getting weaker. We have to embrace that. We have to embrace that if we're going to ascend out of the matrix. So, the brain, the human brain, is a triceptual thing. Now, when we look at the mummification process, which is a spiritualification process, the liver, the kidney, the spleen, these things, the kidneys, these things are kept and embalmed. The brain is pulled out and discarded in the trash because it serves no purpose. Beyond this physical realm. So if the brain, the physical brain, serves you no purpose, that means you must ascend beyond its illusionary spiritual conceptions. And conception means a thought, right? And now these thoughts, so you would have these thoughts, which would be the something. Then they are mixing with the nothingness. Now it is the great awareness that scans all of this, and then it plays it out. This is the drama. This is the Osirian drama that the ancient pre-dynastic Egyptians talk about. This is the drama that the Native Americans talk about, and so forth and so on in all of these ancient cultures, no matter which way they want to form it. So when you're being resistant to knowledge, you cannot apply it to be wisdom. And it is wisdom applied that ascends you up out of the third conceptual perception, which is nothing but granulated pixels formed together by the brain. That is the something that's in the nothingness played out through the body. So we're not even talking about the awareness, the pure awareness. The pure awareness just scans it over. But this is the source that we're attempting to get back into. So we have to understand that the black woman is not a third conceptual being, but she is down here because it is her womb, and the black man seed from a third conceptual reality can only ascend internally through the divine feminine, thus outwardly through the divine feminine. So triceptual, triconceptual, as far as we are concerned as incarnated beings, is a linear thing. I will show this to you. We have to move beyond kindergarten, and we must ma'at chore. So in the diagram, when you see Ammit sitting there by the first three, she's devouring. She is the great devourer. She was sent here to devour those three lower chakras in tri-conceptual man, that he would come into the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra, and then she can get the hell up out of this goddamn slowed down third density reality. This is illusion. So when we look at the brain, we see BR, then we see AI. Now when we look at the N is this, just a loop, but it's a loop supposed to be underneath that. That is the connection, and that makes the cosmic aid. Right now, if you take a capital N and you turn it on its side, that's a Z. That's the great sleep. So we must start understanding that words, there's first words for the human, for this reality. Words is a way to express the intellect, which is the lowest form of intelligence in the cosmos, or on the surface of the earth. And if we go deeper to the core of the earth, which is the cure, now we have words. So you have words, which then you have numbers, then you have symbols, and then the symbols go into the nothingness. Do you see that connection? We must. So this is when I say you perform the the spiritual mummification while you're here. And the one thing that you did not know when I started teaching on this, because I experienced this, reincarnation and incarnation are two separate things. Because once you start to evolve in consciousness, you are capable of bringing in higher revoluting or of velocity ions in atoms, higher ions, higher atoms, which bring in higher knowledge, and you bring that into your body, and then it displaces the slowed down or the ions in the atoms that was in the body. And we are so resistant. We are so resistant to knowledge and to apply it and to think on it to move us out of this situation is because you're stuck in the grand illusion of the ego, which is the ego, which is the igloo. If you look at an igloo, it's an ice shelter. It's shaped like a brain, the igloo. Now, when we look at the U, a U and then a N, lowercase, they connect to form the egg. But when you crack the shell of the egg, then what? Discourse, separation. Then that means that the egg yolk and the egg white spills out, and the yolk did not have the opportunity as the embryo to form into the whole chicken. And that's where we're at. We're a broken egg. So when you take the N, then you take the U. If you put that together, then that's the cosmic egg, and we are to mature beyond that. But we're in a state of brokenness and disjointedness, not just outwardly, but inwardly. This is what we have to understand. You must accept it. I mean, you don't have to accept it, and you can stay right where you're at. And you can keep practicing the same things that don't get you beyond the triconceptual brain concepts. Because once you go beyond words, you start getting into what? Numbers. Then beyond numbers, you start getting into symbols. Symbols dissolve into frequency. Then frequency goes back into its source, pure original consciousness. So if those are, so look at those steps. What steps are you taking? Do you even want to take the steps? Because embracing that, there's nothing new under the sun. There's only things buried and not released to the surface of your awareness. And so you keep operating out of the same paradigm, placating this physical, placating the hurt, the pain, the discourse. So when you take 144,000 and then you take the number 2 and you divide it into that and you keep breaking it down, man, you're going to see the 360. You're going to start seeing a pattern start to it's expanded, then it starts to contract. And I'm working on that. I don't know how far I am to getting to the bottom of it, but I know I posted it yesterday and I went beyond that in the book. But we have to understand. So when and this happened because I said, "Oh, wait a minute. I made a mistake. I was wrong about the Ennead 9. And once I was able to just say I was wrong, I let go of what I had or what I thought I had, and then I got the deeper thing. That's humility. That's also when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. This is inwardly and outwardly. But we're so ego-based, we're so ego-driven that we stub, and burn ourselves trying to hold on to what we think we know. And we only have this. This the whole point of being in the physical realm. The black man is slowed down to a tri-conceptual. Now, when we look at this, you have a sickle cell, which is half a ring, half a muscle. Then you have a muscle, which is one ring of consciousness. Then you have a bicep. So a concept is a muscle. A bicep is a muscle, but a bicep is two. Is what you call that? Double conceptual. Then you have a tricept. Triconceptual. You can think in perform three different things, but this concerning the black man is linear. That's your prison. You have to get to a quadceptual. Awareness. And then this is getting beyond your bottom three chakras. The minimal understanding for surviving in the physical realm. And you do not live in the physical realm. You're not even the physical body. So you're not the physical consciousness. So why do you keep practicing the same physical spirituality? Do you understand? And for those that don't, that's fine. Then I'm not addressing you. But for those of you that know that you keep getting these numbers and these symbols in your dreams, in your meditations, then you know there's something way beyond what's being practiced here. Because what's a practice is practicality for the consciousness that you're at. And this is the consciousness of illusion. Ill, lose. So ill, us, ion. That's illusion. Ill, us, ion. This is a slowed down ion, a slowed down atom. And I'm telling you, look at the trees blowing. And ain't no other trees blowing over there. Nature confirms itself. The source of nature. So you're seeing this. The source of nature is hearing this. And through the air, and through blowing through the vines is showing you. So I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to make it your truth. I'm sparking those who are on this journey because they have realized it better is beyond here. And trying to find better here is trying to find a comfortable space in the poop. It's trying to find a comfortable space with beings that are geared to destroying the earth, destroying space, destroying people, destroying the animals, making false food without nutrients, because they do not want to water and nutrient a higher consciousness of the source. So we're going to kill that, and we're going to put in an illusionary source. See, now, when we look at the black sun versus the yellow sun, the yellow sun is unmatured. That's Ra. That's Ra, the unmatured sun. That is only a reflection of the black sun. Soot, set. Because what did I go? The N, the lowercase n, and then you make a U. a lowercase u, which is the same thing as a lowercase n. And that forms the eggshell. And what's inside the eggshell? That yellow yolk or that orange yolk, which would be representative of the sun. But it's the sun that is not matured. So that's the sun that's up in the sky, which is only an illusion because it's only reflecting the black sun, the perfected sun, which is soot, which is Set. Because the yolk is what? Yellow-orange. What color is the sun? Okay. We have to move beyond the mundane. So when we look at these angel numbers, we have to look at fine-tuning the body parts. Like when we look at the angel number 2, this is for paired organs. Paired organs that are close but are what? Separated. But they are close and they join at some point, but we don't see or know the point at which they're joined. The small intestine and the large intestine is a paired organ, but we think they're separate. The eyes are a paired organ, we think they're separate. Whose ideal is that? The hands are a paired organ, but we call it the left and the right. We think it's separate. Who told you that? Who put that forth? And the fact that you do not want to be taught unless it's somebody that's highly esteemed and being broadcast on YouTube or, got this image, means you're not ready for knowledge. And you're definitely not ready to apply it to become the wisdom of it. So when we know what electric is the something that's mixing into the nothingness. So the electric in the nothingness looks like those white little pixels. Those are the pixels, and we're formulating that to make an illusionary reality. This is the deeper thing of spirituality, but it goes deeper than that. So we have to get things, we have to level up. Like I told you, that's the whole point of putting the black man and people, period, in the fashion sense of sagging clothes, of these clothes hanging off your ass. It means you're lagging behind. Sagging means you're lagging behind. You're lagging behind. You're lagging behind. When you put all of this fake hair on top of your head, when you put all these eyelashes, I don't want to hear the excuses. Oh, they was doing this way back when and when. Man, that was just something for an illusionary process. An illusion, a look. Not to know yourself, not to have your self-worth wrapped in that, not to have your concept of beauty wrapped in that. When you got these false eyelashes on, then what you're doing is you're shading your own vision. You're shading, putting false angles, false shade, more shade on top of your vision. We're supposed to get thinner, thinner, thinner. This is why the man is heavier and bigger than the woman. Because he is mass. And the more mass, the slower a thing is. And see, a woman, you keep putting hair on you, fake eyelashes, fake nails. That means when you're scratching the surface, you're scratching the surface with acrylic, something that's not even yours. So you're not even getting the vibration of the real vibration. We have to understand this. And I'm not trying to force it down your throat. I'm just passionate. I don't care whether you take it or you don't take it. I know what I know. And the people that's ascending and they're using it to keep you where you at, they know what I know and more. It's you that don't know. So you defend your ignorance. That's the igloo trying to keep itself cold, frozen, tundra. This is why the Aurora Borealis is so visible now, because ice, polar ice caps, is a weaponized thing. It keeps the frequency, the colors, the spectrum locked in it. And now that these 4 black suns, yes, it's 4 sets. So these 4 black suns is radiating so much. Yeah, I hear you. It's radiating so much energy that it's melting that ice. So it's releasing the prism. That means the veil is slipping. This is why they need the AI. And they're integrating you into the AI. They're integrating you into the fakeness. This is why we keep throwing things on the illusion. You keep putting BBLs, fake titties, fake lips, fake hair, fake nails on top of the illusion. Now, how much more stuff do you gotta work through to get to the source? You're adding on mass when the ideal is to lower mass. If the black man, if the man has to come into the divine feminine, he can look and say, she has less mass. So when you get to that thinner part, which is right, you're working on getting rid of those 3 bottom chakras. You're thinning yourself out to come into the lowest level of consciousness. So when I look at a woman's body, it's not frailer than mine, it's thinner than mine, because it has less mass than mine, which has less waste on it. The woman body has less waste. You keep putting more waste on top of it. Do you understand this? Now, if you want to defend that, then go ahead. I'm not talking to you because you don't know no better. And you're not speaking from the divine feminine, because if you were speaking from the divine feminine, you would know that. You would know that inward separation from the masculine does not ascend or join the thing together to bring separation to a close for the quadruple carbon bond. You're a separate entity, a broken entity. The truth is the truth. And you can defend your brokenness all you want to. But you'll go the way this illusionary realm is going. The spirit of the white buffalo is coming from the west. The spirit of the ram is coming from the east. There's a clash. So we must always be in a state of retrograde. You don't even have a concept of retrograde. Retro is to get back to the retro. Take the atom. Now, if you say, oh, the atom is the core of things. Well, if you go into the core of the atom, you're going to find another core, which is going to be the neutrons and the protons. And then if you go into the core of the neutrons and the protons, you're going to get to the quarks. So baby, what you practicing? Brother, what you practicing? You need to may I chore it. Mature it. May I chore. May I chore. And a lot of y'all on low frequency gonna say, why he sound angry? But those vibrating high gonna say that's passion, that's love, that's compassion. See, right now, I'm like, the letter R in the capital sense means humility, means giving, means concern, means along those patterns. I forget what the got so much stored in me. Now that's free. So FR capital F capital REE. Free means love, concern, compassion. Now when I drop that R, it's a fee to it. Now I'm dropping the concern, I'm dropping the compassion, I'm dropping the passion. So it's best that you understand the gift for free that I am giving you, because that's what love is all about. Ascending the mass into less mass. Less. So this is why I say, you do not lose weight. You lose waste. You do not lose weight, you lose waste. Go back and rewind this, because it's full of gems. And I'm giving you gems, printed out gems, daily, 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 daily. And if I done listed the names I was under. Maurice the Mad Poet Hardy, Hunter Black, Hunt Black, Saab Gu Pluto. And when you go back, I don't know how much of the pages I've made public. Some things have just got erased away. But you can see how the insight has grown. I've had to let things go. I've had to allow myself to be corrected.